Welcome, everyone, to the variety show Without a Clue. Guests from all over the world come from all walks of life and all careers to come on and tell us about themselves and give us a little bit of their insight. So grab a seat, relax, and listen, because this is the Leo Effects. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today I'm joined with a very prestigious guest, someone who is the man behind the cartoon, if you will. Joining me today is Sam. How are you doing, sir?
Yep, it's Sam Kwasman. How are you?
Oh, boy. Oh, I give a Baba. I give a Baba. Oh, boy.
Perfect. What an intro.
Yeah, I'm not in the greatest duck today, but I'm doing okay.
Hey,
I'll warm up as I go.
It came across just fine to me. I mean, it sounded just like Little Quackers. So,
well, I thank you very much.
Leading right into that, I mean, normally the first question I ask is what you think that you are most known for and all of that. And it sounds like you just kind of got that out there already. But why don't you tell the folks that are listening, some of the big stuff you've done?
Sorry, I didn't mean to mess you up there. I'm the voice of Little Quacker for Tom and Jerry cartoons, and we've done 5 seasons so far, and they're going to come out with a major motion picture, but I'm not in it. But but I used to do the voice of Donald Duck at Disney, and that's how I got the job as Little Quacker. And I did Donald Duck at Disney for about over a 17-year period with records and toys. We didn't do any cartoons, but you can hear me on the album Totally Mini and Talking Mickey Mouse Dolls and, the Fisher-Price toys and Gold Bond ice cream commercial, a lot of stuff, I started out in Disney on Parade as the voice of Donald Duck when I was 19. And, Donald's a irascible character, and his little thing will set him off. So he's a little different than Little Quacker, he sounds like this. and a Little Quacker is much more innocent. He doesn't get angry. He's like, he's a little innocent baby.
Right.
But it's the same darn voice. Come on.
That's
Just
awesome.
kidding.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing with voice acting is sometimes two characters might be pretty similar, right?
Oh yes, the crossover is amazing, and there are little slight differences in the character's attitude, personality, viewpoint, that kind of thing. And when you do a character, you have to understand it's you have to make them laugh, cry, get angry, show grief, sadness, happiness, sing, all that. You can't make them dance, but that's up to the animator.
Right. That's impressive. And I've talked to a few other voice actors who say the same thing. It's not this one just level voice that you have to do. You have to be able to do them distressed and angry, and you really got to practice that. Is that something that's kind of difficult for you, or is it pretty natural now?
Well, yeah, it's natural. Now I've been doing it for decades, but I do other voices. But the point is that you just don't do the voice. You have to give him character. You have to give him a point of view. You have to give him an attitude. Donald Duck has an attitude. Mm-hmm. I think the best example is Popeye. Popeye has 2 personalities. One is the what's new, and the other one is blows me down. So he's got 2 voices. Literally, he talks to himself, with this thing in here, and then when he's talking to you, hey, what's up, big idea? That kind of thing.
Right.
So, but you've got to be able to distinguish between the 2. And he's got a certain type of laugh,
mm-hmm.
and he can sing, and he can twirl his pipe, and you don't have to do that, but he's always he's always astounded when someone punches him,
Yeah.
And you have to create those attitudes, those feelings, so you get it across to the audience. So now we're analyzing cartoon characters, right, who are considered one-dimensional, but really it's not. Voice acting is acting. You have to act. And acting, we don't act. you be, acting. If you take acting lessons, they don't tell you don't act, just be the character.
Mm-hmm.
So even in cartoons, you have to be the character. You just be the character. If he's angry, you get angry. If he's sad, you get sad. But you have to create that in the voice. So it's the same thing as, Shakespeare.
Yeah. Well, I would almost venture to say that voice acting is almost, a little bit more difficult because you don't have the luxury of portraying it yourself. You are having to portray it for another person.
Yeah, you do, and you have to create it in a way where you're not physical. Well, you know what? When I'm in the booth, I physicalize the character.
Okay.
It's what you learn in acting school. You just don't see me doing it. You see the cartoon doing it. You see the character doing it. The animator does it. And he goes off of your emotions.
Okay.
He goes off of the way you talk, the way your attitude is. So, he'll draw to your feelings, or they'll direct you to say, now look, this character is going to be sad here. So then you're sad.
Yeah.
And you have to do it within 3 seconds,
Right, yeah. Oh, man. That'd be
yeah,
rough.
they say, look, we gave you 3 seconds to say, have a great day, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't know what you're doing. I'm a bad luck duck. And it all has to be done in 3 seconds.
Wow.
So sometimes it's unintelligible,
I got you.
And for the duck, and I always tell them, and we're always looking for alternate words, because the hardest thing about the duck are 1-syllable words like fix, which I had to do. And so, I don't know, we're analyzing cartoons, characters. I'm going to give you away all my secrets here to your audience.
Yeah, there you go. That's what tends to happen. So
yeah, it does.
We can move to something else. Something that you had said a little bit ago. You had said that you've been doing this for decades. So
yeah,
I was asked this at work one day because I really want to be a voice actor myself, and so I'm going to ask you, a veteran seasoned pro, what made you want to be a voice actor?
I have to tell you, I always loved doing cartoon voices, and I used to imitate Mel Blanc. I met Mel Blanc, and I went to the Mel Blanc School of Voices.
Oh, wow.
And Noel Blanc introduced us. He said, Donald Duck meets Daffy Duck, although the original voice of Donald Duck was alive.
Oh.
But I was doing records and toys for Disney, and I did Disney on Parade, where I did Donald Duck live. It was like you see it today's Disney on Ice.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be a dance show. Disney on Parade was a dancing show, and I have stories about that. It was my first dance company. I was 19, and I was going to be a song and dance man, musical comedy, sing, dance, act, and do plays. And then one day I sat down at the piano in rehearsal and did a bunch of cartoon voices. One was Donald Duck, and Anna White, the choreographer, goes, "You're the next voice of Donald Duck for the show."
Oh. Wow.
And I go, "What? What?" And it was in 10 minutes. That was it. And I've been doing Donald Duck since I was 19. I was doing it 10 to 14 shows a week, doing the radio shows. I did What's My Line, which I'm sure your audience doesn't know about that show, but it was a big show back then.
Oh, okay.
And I was the mystery guest, and little Donald Duck comes out in a suit, and I'm in the back doing his voice. And so I perfected the voice. I do other voices, but that's the one that sticks out. It's the most recognizable one I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I came from an acting, singing, dancing background, musical comedy, and I did a lot of musicals as a dancer, as an actor, and television shows as an actor, and stand-up comedy at the Comedy Store, and on to Vegas and Reno and all that. But enough about me, right?
No, not even. I love these kind of stories.
So it just happened, right time, right place. And then I went over to the studio and told them I was doing Donald Duck, and they started using me for toys and records. They hadn't made a cartoon until 1987, 88, when they did Roger Rabbit. Then they had an audition and gave it to somebody else. And I was really shocked because I had been doing it for so long. But they took all 3 of us out, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, brought in 3 new guys. So what can I say? It's
wow.
Welcome to welcome to politics. So 25 years later, I get a call, and he says to me, "You still do a good duck?" I go, "Yeah, who are you?" And it turned out to be the director producer of the Fox and the Hound, the animation supervisor. And I walked in the animation department one day at Disney Studios and did Donald Duck, and they never forgot it. He never forgot it. And 25 years later, he called me up. "I need a duck for Little Quacker." And it wasn't much of a stretch, and I wound up getting the job. And Warner Brothers still had an audition, and they auditioned 3,000 voice actors for that little role of that little duck, and I got it. But I was very lucky.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it's like hitting the lottery. Then you have to hope they use you.
Wow. And, you know, just, I gotta say, I used to watch Tom and Jerry all the time. My kids watch it all the time. And I usually save it for the end, but I'm going to say it now. Like, I'm quite honored to have you on the show because Little Quackers was always a favorite. It was this innocent little duck, but yet at the same time, he had that little mischievous side, and he could, you know, hang with the best of them. And so it's quite an honor to talk to the voice, or the man behind the voice.
Oh, thank you.
So that's awesome.
It's that big a deal. Yeah.
But you just said when you were talking that you've done other stuff besides just voice acting. You've done actual acting as well. Do you have anything you're working on right now that you kind of want to get out there for people to check out?
Yes, I'm in a movie called Letters from a Nut, produced by Jerry Seinfeld on Amazon Prime. There are the actual letters from the book Letters from a Nut.
Oh wow!
And they read them out loud. It's hilarious. And I come out as a depressed clown to break up the letters. It's very very odd. But we're going to do a new movie. Jerry's going to do a new one. Barry Martyr wrote these, by the way. Barry Martyr is the writer, comedic writer and actor in Letters from a Nut. We did it at the Geffen Theater. It was shot as a stage play. But now we're going to do a movie on how they created Letters from a Nut. And so we're waiting on that. That's for next year, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you know, you might recognize me from the Bob Newhart Show, Family Ties, Airwolf, Movies of the Week, Mad TV, things like that. I've done a lot of stuff, and national commercials.
Jeez.
So, and not just voices. So you got to work. Bob Newhart Show, here it is, how many years later? And the Hollywood Reporter does a retrospective on, you know, what did you like about, they asked celebrities, what do you like about the Bob Newhart Show? What episodes were your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Conan O'Brien mentions mine. And I play a ventriloquist who believes the dummy's real and wants to leave the act.
Oh.
And, yeah. And Bob says, you know, you're making the dummy talk. And I go, well, that's how it started. And and it just goes on and on from there. And it became this classic episode. The Wall Street Journal had nothing better to do but rate the top 10 of every season of the Bob Newhart Show, and I came out number 2 out of 10 for my season, not for the A plot, but for my plot, my scenes with Bob.
Wow.
And then Conan, I sent him a thank you note. You know, it's nice of you to mention me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Conan's directing everybody to my YouTube site to see this episode of the Bob Newhart Show because he claims when he was 10 years old, this is what inspired him to be a comedian.
Oh my
gosh. I think it was more Conan than it was, more Bob Newhart than it was me, but, you know. And since I contacted him, he's been sending all his fans to my YouTube site.
That's
you know,
great.
And they all say, Conan, something here. Yeah. And then he interviews Bob Newhart, and Bob brings up the ventriloquist scene. And it was nominated for an Emmy, the episode, I think, for editing. But it's this classic episode that came back to haunt me, you know, how many years later. And then, yeah, really. You know, it's like an honor. And then, you know, I've done other things like, you know, Family Ties, Mad TV, Movies of the Week back in those days. And I'm still working. You know, a lot of the guys I know have stopped.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm still able to work. So.
That's crazy. What would
Yeah.
you say you like? Which would you like better, acting or voice acting?
Well, to me, it's the same. Voice acting and acting. Acting's acting. You know.
Okay,
I mean, I don't care. I mean, I love cartoons. Love
that's fair.
cartoons. The meeting Mel Blanc, was great. Donald Duck meet Daffy Duck, and I did Donald, he did Daffy. And I'll tell you his advice to me. This is great for your fans out there who are into acting.
Uh huh.
He said, he says it's great you can do somebody else's voice, but I made my reputation on original characters, original voices, and he was a master at it. He's the greatest, one of the greatest voice actors of all time. And he has like a 4 octave range. He has the voice of an opera singer. They compared him to one day,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, well, you know what, you're right. He was right, but he was wrong, because when he passed away, it took 6 people to replace him.
Oh.
So
Oh
it
wow.
it's good to imitate other people's voices. And I don't really do um, celebrities. I do cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. I do a few voices that are celebrities, but not really. I'm a tenor, so I stick with the cartoony voices. And I work
Gotcha.
for Seth Green. Yeah, I worked for Seth Green. We did Robot Chicken. We did Mickey and Donald at a bar picking up chicks.
Right.
And
Yeah, I think a lot of my listeners are probably the age range to know that one.
they would love that. We also did uh, uh, Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mother. I know what's her name now. I've known these characters for 100 years. I can't remember her name. So she turns out to be some kind of a prostitute or something, and
Oh my
there's a big
gosh.
shootout, and it's dark. They do a lot of dark humor. But Mickey
Right.
and Donald at a Bar is a classic. It's only 30 seconds long. You can see that, and that's funny. That's funny stuff.
That is. So
Yeah.
I have a question for you. It's based off of some advice I got from another voice actor when I went to a panel. So I'm going to present it as a question to you. When practicing your voices for any character or an upcoming character or just in general, would you say that it's good to put yourself to practice being that character doing other things or just the lines that you're required to do? So, for
Oh no,
instance,
no, you want to bring in a full blown character because you never know what they're going to throw at you. And I got thrown one day when they asked me to do a butler's voice. And so
oh,
I did a butler's voice like this. And really, I should have remembered that I had a butler's voice, which is, oh, yes, hello, yes, yes, sir, may I help you? Instead of doing, oh, yes, hello,
uh-huh.
and I should have done the higher pitched, yes, sir, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do for you? To make him real stuffy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other one was more like, in Sherlock Holmes, the one who played Sherlock Holmes' sidekick, Basil Rathbone and
Yeah.
I forgot the other guy. And he talked like this, and that's the only thing I could think of at the time. So sometimes I'll throw it right at you, and you have 3 seconds to come up with a voice while you're in the
Ah.
studio, while you're recording. So
Okay.
I didn't know they wanted a butler. Had I known, I would have worked on it ahead of time. You know, always nice to be prepared, but you never know. So you just kind of dip into your group of characters, you know. And I
Gotcha.
do one that I had to do a park ranger, and I remember the park ranger from Disney, which I can do, which is yes, hello, can I help you? These are the bears, and he goes, I can't do that. That's Disney. So I had to come up with another voice.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I came up with yes, I'm the park ranger, and I give him a little bit of a nose thing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So
Dang.
you just never know what they're going to throw at you. If I had a little time to prepare, it would have been a little easier. I would have gone through. Yeah, and they want you to do. They they really look for original voices.
Okay.
Original.
All right.
So
So
that's a big deal.
in a nutshell, would that be your advice to somebody coming into this business that's just starting out to just be prepared for anything? Or what would you say your exact advice would be for somebody?
I would come up with, if you can do somebody else's voice, you can record that and put that in a voice demo. But I would also rely on showing them original voices, things that you do that nobody else can do, or something. They're always looking for a unique voice, unique. So that's the way they look, because they're constantly have tons of characters out there. They have like Maurice LaMarche, who's brilliant. Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy. These guys can do hundreds of voices. Jim Cummings, who is, I was there when he actually got the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
And actually, he was doing Darkwing Duck at the time, and I was doing Donald Duck. And these guys do hundreds of voices.
Right.
You know, that's what Steve Stanton, who works on Tom and Jerry cartoons, is a Star Wars voice guy. You know, he's just amazing. I mean, I had suggested an episode where Little Quacker changes his voice, takes some voice pills, or gets a hit on the head with a brick, and you know, his voice changes. Well, they took that and had him take opera lessons, and it's something Local Yokel is called, or something, or Little Quacker sings opera. You can see it on YouTube.
That's awesome.
And Steve Stanton comes in and does the voice change. They hire an opera singer to sing opera, and then they bring in Steve to do this Ronald Coleman voice. Your audience may not know who that is, but he had the most incredible speaking voice in the 40s and 50s, and he was a big major movie star. He was starred in Lost Horizon, the movie, and did tons of movies and radio shows back in the day. And he was an amazing actor, and he was very handsome, and, you know, he was a leading man. But he had a beautiful voice, and you can hear him go, "You tis a fall better thing," like, you know, whatever it is. I can't do his voice. He's a deeper voice. And Steve comes in and does it. I mean, he does so many voices. And one guy, they take one guy, and they have him do 10 voices, you know. So Maurice LaMarche, who's the brain in Pinky and the Brain. I mean, he's well known. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
The best is one of the best is Frank Welker, who is the voice of Scooby-Doo, and hundreds of characters. Matter of fact, it's gotten to the point now where he just does noises. He does cats, dogs, dragons, voices, you know, growling, you know.
Wow.
He can do anything. So that's your competition.
Gotcha.
So you got to be lucky.
So would you
and
say
you gotta
then?
be
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, would you say then it's good to have a wide range, like that you could do high pitched and low pitched, or should you just go for one singular pitch and just kind of stay in that general area?
No, you do everything. You put it all out on the table. You do everything you can do.
Okay.
If you have a high-pitched voice and a high-pitched character, do it. If you can go low, like I said, Mel Blanc had a 4-octave range. So from Porky Pig, Tweety Pie, all the way down to, you know, Yosemite Sam, and all the low-pitched voices. What was that voice? The devil, the Tasmanian devil.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah.
So the same guy that did Tasmanian Devil also did Tweety Pie?
Yep. Yep.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, back then, they sped him up 10%. Daffy Duck is the same as Sylvester the Cat. Sylvester's just 2 octaves lower, and he's a sloppy cat. You know, say, are you following me? We're a flat bird. And then Daffy is the same voice without the, you know?
Yeah.
He's that, say, you know, that kind of thing, you know?
You're very good.
Same voice.
Very, very
good. Yeah. I love cartoons. And then you got Foghorn, like, so I say, hold on there. Are you talking to me? What, you know? And he also does the chicken hawk. I'm a chicken hawk. I'm going to get you chicken.
That's great. This has
been
a phenomenal interview.
Oh, well, Thank you very much. Thank you.
I've
And
talked to all my childhood cartoons all in one episode.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, do it all. What's up, Tom? Um, yeah, but I do cartoons, but I also do stand up comedy and straight acting and stuff. The whole idea is all acting. It's all about
acting.
yeah. You act with your voice. You act with your body when you do a play or a musical. So, and I danced. I was a dancer. I danced in the movie Mame with Lucille Ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's how I started. And she was great. She used to tell me stories. And yeah, seriously. So, I've done a lot of things.
Yeah, we definitely have to point people at not just your voice acting stuff. We've got to get it out there. You said it earlier. So at the end here, I'd like for you to reiterate where the other stuff coming up. But for right this minute, can you tell people where they can find more about you in general? Like, I think before we started recording, you had mentioned your website. So if you want to hand that out.
Yeah, I'm samkay3000.com, SAMKAY3000.com, and I'm on YouTube under my name, Sam Kwasman. You go to my site, and you can see Bob Newhart, and I don't know if I have family ties on there, but lots of cartoons and on-camera stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do stand-up. I play Vegas, Reno, Tahoe, and but mostly I try to stay in town on television. Like I said, we're doing Letters from a Nut on Amazon Prime, written by Barry Martyr, produced by Jerry Seinfeld, and we're going to do a new one, how they made Letters from a Nut. They created the book. Yeah,
and I remember you bringing that up earlier. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll be doing that, and we finished 5 seasons of Tom and Jerry, and hopefully we'll start up again next year with new episodes of Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Awesome. Well, before I do any kind of closing statements, I have one last question for you. That question is, if a director were to come up to you and say, Sam, I'm going to create whatever cartoon, movies, drama, whatever it is, for whatever you want, what would it be?
Whoa. I've never had anybody ask me that. What was that? Have a pardon me, have a cartoon that I wanted?
And anything. It can be a cartoon, it could be a TV series, a movie, anything you want, but it's starring you.
Oh, well, I would have loved to done a major motion picture starring me and a TV series starring me. I'll take any of that. And a cartoon starring me. Anything starring me.
Would it be like a comedy or a drama or a thriller?
Whatever they say, I'll take it.
Okay,
Science
that's fair.
fiction, except horror movies, unless they're funny.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Yes, I would love to do it all. I mean, I was trained since I was a kid to work, as an actor, and that's what I wanted to do. And I keep getting diverted for other things. But the thing is to explore your talents and whatever you can do, sing, dance, act, do a million voices, stand-up comedy writing, drama, theater, Shakespeare, whatever it is, do it because it's a craft and it's something you have to work on. You have to do it. You can't just think about it. And that's my biggest motivation is get out there and get up in the morning and go out and do what you need to do. And I'm sure you're in Mobile, right?
No, I'm in upstate New York.
Oh, what am I talking about? I mean, upstate New York. Yeah. So you're up there by Rochester and Buffalo?
Correct, sir. Yep.
Yeah. So I've been up there. Plenty of theater up there.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of things to do up there. And if you're really good, go down to New York City and start auditioning for Broadway shows if you think you're ready.
Perfect.
Because that's the key. That's the key. The key is to work. And if you're really, really good, they like Robin Williams, you can't deny his talent. You just can't deny it. And someone once said to me, you got to be so good that they can't turn you down. And in movies and television, they'll turn you down because your nose is crooked, or your eyes are too close, or your eyes are not big enough, or you don't have enough hair, or it's the wrong color. You never know.
Right.
It may not have nothing to do with your talent. So you can't take these auditions seriously enough to hurt your ego or your drive. Just get out there and audition, and it's a numbers game. So you just keep doing. Eventually, something breaks.
Great.
How's that?
That is some
Very funny
sage-like
stuff.
advice.
Funny stuff. Yes. Yes, and now I'm currently the male stripper at the Jewish Home for the Aged. So
Perfect.
that's my new job.
Well, I just want to say thank you again, Sam, for coming on my show. It has been phenomenal having you here. You've been an amazing guest.
Thank you very much. I'll tell you about it.
And thank you to the listeners out there who turned in and got to hear all of this. I couldn't do any of this without you. I wouldn't be doing any of this without you, because why would I? So thank you all very much, and we will see you later. Hey everyone, this is Ray. Thank you for listening. It's because of listeners like you that I'm able to keep this show going. For more of my shenanigans, check out Realm of the Mist Entertainment, where I'm co-host to Breaking the Fourth Wall, War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, Lemmy Stormkiller on Four Corners of Hell, and finally, The Chronicler on Chronicles of the Lost Realm. You can also find me at Shattered Dungeons on YouTube, playing an awesome game called Shattered Dawn. For contact information or to be on the show, check out theleoeffects.wixsite.com/podcast today.